So I'm recording this because we have Russell said he's going to be a little late this morning, and Jordan may have to leave early, it sounds like, and John was not able to attend today. And I also wanted to make sure that I record this too, because just so I know how to use Submittable myself when I'm doing this contest, because I kind of forgot some of the stuff you talked about last time. A lot of information.
No worries.
But anyway, I'm gonna just share my screen real quick. This is just the agenda I have for today, and I'll put everyone that's here. And that's pretty much it, just how to use Submittable. And I think it'll be a really good way to run our contest, and how to use the ambassadors in the contest. So that being said, I go ahead and stop sharing, and I'll actually, let me show you. I did one more thing here. I did update this on Submittable to this is what I have here. So for what they would fill out is their first name, their last name, their county, and what is new county list? What is that?
Yeah, that was a copy over from the District 9 one, because the District 9 one had like all 254 counties. And so we just threw a placeholder in there for them to just narrow that down to only the counties that were in their district. So
oh, okay. Yeah, I actually did that on the District 10 because I was gonna do this for District 10. But then she was saying that she doesn't think we're gonna have enough time to do it since our submission started in February.
Okay.
So we might have to wait until next year for District 10. I'll go ahead. So we got contestant's first name, last name, county, age division, and I changed this to just juniors and intermediates since we don't have seniors in our contest. Category selection, and I updated this with all the same categories that we used last year, so they're a little different than the ones in the other state contests. So I updated that, and then the photo upload. So I was trying to figure out, I couldn't remember, how do you get to where let's save this. How do you get to where it goes to projects now? And like, how do you get it to set the dates to where it'll be live and things like that? Or do you want to show me on your end? Would that be easier?
Yeah. Let me do that, and just let me know where you want me to start. I mean, do you want me to start at the very beginning and kind of give a crash course, or just kind of pick up where you left off there?
Well, I don't know. What does everybody on the call think? Do you guys, do you know anything about Submittable? Should we just do a kind of from the top?
Yeah, I think that would help. Just kind of a quick tutorial. And also, is it free or?
It's definitely not a free service.
Okay.
I pay a ton of money for this.
Okay.
But I've got room within my subscription for you guys to run your contest through through my subscription. So that's not going to be an issue. The only delicate balance that we're going to have to worry about is just timing with not only your contest but my contest. District 4's jumping in on this. District 9 is going to use my Submittable account. So we'll talk about why that's important. And it all is based on the judges. We can only have a set number of people, including administrators, on the system at a given time. And so that's including me and you guys and all that, and your judges. We're capped out at 50 because of the subscription that we have. And so as soon as our judges are done, then we clean everybody out and get ready for the next contest. So it's, like I said, it's just kind of a little bit of a juggling act in that regard, but it's manageable as long as we're in good communications with each other going forward. So I don't see that as too big of an obstacle or a problem. So all right. So yeah, we can kind of start from the top. I'll show you what Submittable looks like from my standpoint as an administrator, and to a large extent, if you guys have accounts that we add in here. This is very similar to what you would probably see. And in a lot of sense, this is the type of page that a judge would see. They would see a list of entries, and they would see some buttons up top, probably a lot more limited set of buttons for them. But each one of these lines here is a different photo. Some of them are the same kid, as you can see here. Joseph Fritz submitted multiple photos, and that's just the way we have it set up. And it allows us to judge individual photos rather than if we had Joseph enter all his photos in one entry. When a judge pulled up that one photo, it actually pull up all of Joseph's photos, not just that single category. And so that's why we have to have the kids go in and submit multiple times for every single photo that they have. And so anyway, that hopefully will make a little more sense here in just a little bit. But so this is, again, what the judges would see. This is what we would see. So you'd have your list of submissions, and we can click on one and kind of open it up and go from there. But before we do, I'll just show you there's a few tools here at the top, and we have to open them up by clicking on this show filters. So we do that, and right now we're looking at last year's state photography contest that I did. So I wanted to pull that up because it obviously has photos in it still, and we can kind of look at that from a realistic standpoint there, not just a blank screen there. So we can filter it out. We can also filter by a number of different things here on this page, like review stage. You know, if we only want to see the ones that are in round one, or if we want to see just the photos that have made it to the finals, we can click on that. And we can label those as we go to move certain photos to certain stages, and then sort based upon those stages if we need to. We can also look and see, we can sort photos by who they've been assigned to. And if you need to see where a certain judge is in the process of judging, we can do that. Or if they have a question about a photo and you want to drill down real fast and find that photo, that's another way to do that. Lots of filtering mechanisms here. You can do it by label, which a label in our sense might be, the animals and domestic category. So we can sort all of these photos by that particular label. There we go. And so these labels you see here are the ones that show up underneath each one of the entries. So this one says animals domestic. So right now there are 46 of those, which doesn't seem like all of them, but it could be, because usually we have well over 100 domestic animals. So I don't know, I may have another filter that I'm not aware of that's kind of taken hold, but nonetheless, you can see that right now, all of these photos have been judged. There are scores here that the judges have awarded, and these are average scores. So if you have more than one judge judging the photos, it'll automatically average their scores and put those here. And you can see here too that 1 of 2 reviews have been done. And so that kind of gives you a clue into maybe where some of the progress has taken place on these photos. And right now you can see that I've assigned myself to these photos just to kind of show how that works. So that's nothing too crazy there. Before we leave this page too, there's some other things that we can do. If we wanted to move all these photos or assign all these photos to a certain judge, we can click this checkbox and then say assign, and then pick the person, or in some cases, the entire team, if that's what you want to do, which would be crazy. And there's some other ways that we can assign people as well. But we could just pick a person here, make the assignments, and then those people would show up here in this far right column where it says assigned to. And then from there, there's other ways to assign. if you want to do random assignments, let's say you have 100 photos and you got 3 judges that are going to judge that category, rather than give each one of those judges 100 photos, which is way more than I would ever do. Typically, I like to give my judges between 30 and 40 photos at most. And so what I would do is I would probably, in that case, if I had 100 photos, I would come up with 3 judges, and then I would say randomize assignments. And when I do that, what I do is have a single judge photo, and then we pull those best photos from those 3 judges together to pick the best of show for that category. And then I would pick the people that I would want to be those judges. We'll put Joe Mask on there, and then we'll pick Nathan there. And so if we were to do that, which I'm not going to go forward with this, but it says each team member will receive 15 to 16 submissions. So if you'll remember, we have 46 photos that have been filtered here. And so it's going to divide that up as evenly as possible, but also randomly. And then it's going to assign those people these 3 different photos, 15 to 16 photos each. And they would get an email that says, here's your list of photos to judge. And then once they do, their screen would look almost identical to this. And so then they would see their list of 15 photos here. They would click on their first one. And from there, assuming my internet squirrel gets running here, this is what they would see. And we can hide different fields if we want to hide those, like the contestant's name and their county and those kind of things, to make it less biased, I guess, for the judges. So that they're just judging the photos regardless of where the kid's from or who they are or anything like that. So this is the typical type of page that you might see as a judge. And so there's a link here to the photo. So you just click that and it opens up the photo in the same frame. So the judges don't have to worry with going outside, and opening new windows and those kind of things. Everything is all on one screen, which makes it utterly fantastic, I think, because a lot of other systems I've used and even built on my own, we've had to, have multiple windows open and spreadsheets and everything else, and it becomes quite cumbersome at that point. So, so the judge can zoom in. They can even go full screen down here on the bottom right-hand corner if they want to go full screen. But they can go into 100%, see the clarity of the photo, those kind of things. Check the lighting, check the see if it's pixelated, those kind of things, and scroll around if they need to. On the right-hand side, in this pane over here, would be where the score sheet would show up. And so this, I'll show you what the score sheet will look like here in just a moment. But you can see that this judge here, it says review or remove. So once we have all the judges judge, their names would be here, and it would show up. But once I remove them from the team, then it kind of makes it, it just strips all of their personal details of their name and their email address and that kind of stuff. So before I clean out the system, I always download all the data, including their names and their scores and everything else in the report section. And that just gives me some historical records to go back to if there's any issues that pop up after the fact, after I've removed them. I'll still know who actually judged the photos and those kind of things. So, but anyway, this is where the score sheet would show up. There would be a rubric here with drop-down menus that have score values, exactly like the state score sheet that you've seen probably before. And then there's down at the bottom, there's a section for comments and a couple of other things that they can do. They can message me too if they need to. If they get stuck on something, they can send me a message directly from Submittable, or they can obviously email me, from their email if they want to. But then this is also where the judges can add labels. So what I do is I ask our judges to let me know what their top choice is. And so if this is their top choice, they would click on this label. And so now it says that has successfully updated labels. So if we were to go back to our list, well, you can see here, it now has a new label called top choice in addition to the label for the category here, that's animals domestic. So if we go back to our list, we should see that that label has now been added. So if I want to then sort these photos, and I only want to see my judge's top choice, now I can say filter results, and should be all the photos that, well, I think I have more than one filter, obviously. For, oh, I've got, so this is tricky here too. I have top choice and animals domestic selected here, but if I only want, so it's going to pull, that's an and instead of an or. So if I take that off, well, let me put it back on real quick just to show you one little way to do that. It says has any of this selected. So in other words, if it has animals domestic or top choice, then it's going to pull in all of those. If it has all of those selected, then that means it's going to only select the animals domestic that also has top choice. So we'll just see if that proves me correct real quickly. So that is correct. So the animals domestic and top choice. So again, the filter is pretty powerful. You can do a lot of different things and manipulate your list here to drill down to what you really want to do. So let's just say that we wanted to move these on to the next round of judges, and we're gonna put all these against each other. We can assign them the next stage, which might be the finals round. And so if I do that, you can see now that the stage has moved to finals. And you know, finals may have a different scoring system, or it may have you know, the same rubric or whatever, whatever you decide. And you can set up as many stages of judging as you need. So that's also the fun thing there. So so before I go to the next section and leave this one, are there any questions about this particular page that we're on? This is called the submissions page, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you get there. So you just go to submissions.
Yep, it's on submissions.
Yeah. Okay.
And then obviously, you know, you can click on the clear filters button here, and it'll clear everything, including the type of contest that you're looking at. So going on right now as we speak. So we want to make sure that we're only looking at the contest. So we'll go back to our 4-H photography contest here. Click done. Say filter results, and we should be back only viewing all of those photos, and it confirms it here of what we're looking at. So that's good. Any other questions?
How do you assign or how do you enter new judges within the category?
Yeah, so there's a number of different ways. We'll go to the team section here, and in the team, this is a list of all of the people that you would want to be as judges, and you can see we have some people in here that are looking at the San Antonio Public Speaking Contest. These are some of the administrators for the contest, these level 4s, and then all of these level 1s are judges. And you can see that they've over on the right hand side, you can see how many things that they've been assigned to. And so 27 for that person, 18 for this person, and so on and so forth. To add new people, you just go up here and you click on invite. And then that should open up a quick little window there. You assign a level to that person. Over on the right hand side, it tells you what those levels are for each one of those. You can give them a title, you know, like you know, state 4-H photography judge, those kind of things. So it kind of keeps everything separate whenever we have multiple contests going on simultaneously. That'll help. And then you just type in their email address here, and then you say send team invitation to them. You can see here currently your organization has 32 members out of 50 available seats. So I have a 18 seats essentially remaining in our team. So once San Antonio gets done with their contest here shortly, we will clean every single one of them out and delete them out of the system. And then that cleans up clears out that space there, so that we can allow new people to come in as we need them. But that's how you can do that. The cool thing too is that you can group them. So if you need to create groups, let's just say that this is juniors, animal, domestic, and let's just say that we're going to group both of these together, like, and wildlife. So then we can select the members that are going to be judges. So we'll put myself on here, and we'll put Nathan on here just for funsies right now, and then just say save. And so that really doesn't do anything physically, like send them in an email or anything like that. But what it does is it creates this group so that when we're making assignments, we can make assignments a lot quicker. We don't have to remember individual lists and those kind of things. And this is actually what I do with the state contest. I build, hang on, I don't know why this thing rings when you're busy. Sorry about that. So I build groups for each category. So I'll have an animals domestic category. I'll have an animals and wildlife category, and those kind of things. And I'll list my judges here, so that whenever we go back to the submissions page, and let's just say that we're going to assign these 3 photos to a new set of judges. So now when I go to assign, you see now that I have this juniors animals domestic. So if I click on that and say done, it's now going to send me and Nathan an email saying, we've got these 3 photos to judge. And so it says multiple team members here. So so now we know there are more than there's more than one person assigned to these photos. And then these down here are still unassigned. So we know that they've been judged whenever there's a green check mark. I didn't show you that earlier. So whenever this is completed, the 1 of 1 review has been done, you'll see green check marks. So that's another good indicator there to see where you are in the state of your contest, to see how many more photos are left to be judged. But there are some other tools too that we can use to get to that point. So so that was teams. Let me go to forms real quick and kind of show you the different forms. So we started off here with the state photography contest here. So we're collecting the name of the person, all those good things. These are all the fields. And then obviously here's the types of files that we are accepting for the contest. And just kind of give them some verbiage here about what to do, how to upload it, that kind of stuff. Because sometimes we get a lot of thumbnails to get uploaded for whatever reason instead of the actual photos. So that's my method to my madness of saying a minimum of 1 megabyte. Hopefully that way that kind of cues kids into checking their file size before they upload it. Because we get a lot of them that are like 72 kilobytes, and that's just a tiny thumbnail. So whenever you're looking at that full screen, you can imagine what that looks like. It's pretty pixelated and all. So on this form, just kind of talk about a couple of things here. On certain fields, like this drop-down list that we have here for the age division, there is a feature here called auto label. So as long as we have that checked, that becomes one of those labels that we can filter by. If we don't have that checked, then we would never be able to filter by juniors or intermediates. And in a lot of cases, I would assume you probably want to do that. So just, we need to make sure that we've got that checked before we go on to other things. And then 2, there's response required, which is, similar to most forms that you see. But then you can also conceal responses. So if you don't want their age division to be shown for some reason, you can hide that by concealing the response. You can do that here, which has been checked for the county. So when you say conceal response, that hides it from the judge. It doesn't hide it from administrators at certain levels. So, so we can do that. If you wanted to add a label for all the 254 counties, you could, you know, but in the judging process, that's probably not needed. So I honestly wouldn't add that in my situation, but if you needed to, you certainly could. And then the names and stuff, that's just a text field, just, you know, and that's one of those things we say conceal responses. So you can turn those on or off as you deem necessary. So that's the form there itself. I didn't make any changes, so we're not going to save anything. And then this other section here they call review forms is what I would call score sheets. And so we'll look at the photography score sheet that I built. This is the one I used for the state contest. We'll look at a preview real quick. And this is what you would see if you remember back on the right-hand side of that judging pane. This is the judging rubric that would show up. It would obviously be a lot narrower in view. It wouldn't be this wide, but this is the same type of thing that they would see. So there'd be a drop-down list, and it would have the score values for them to pick from, 1 through 15, and so on and so forth. Obviously, all of these are required fields, so it requires the judges to submit those. I even require them to make a comment, some comments, so that the kids can get those back. I personally allow my judges to suggest whether a photo has been disqualified. Their vote on that is not final. Mine is. So it's more like, hey, I don't think this meets the qualifications. So they check the box. I have them go ahead and score it as if it wasn't disqualified. But if they feel like it is, you know, truly disqualified because it's in the wrong category, or, you know, it's just so distorted that they can't, you know, it's not a good image at all, you know, then I give them the ability to check that box. This box doesn't show up for the kids whenever I send that the results back to them. So this is kind of an internal section here. And I have a section here for them to explain why they're disqualifying their photos. So so then I'll pull a report. I'll sort it by those that have been flagged as disqualified. Then I'll personally go in and look at each one of those photos, see if I agree with the judges or not. And if I do, then yeah, we disqualify them and we remove them from the awards section. So. But that's really the forms. Let me go back here. There's some other forms here that really don't apply to what we're doing here. This is like a lot of them, you know, if you had scholarships or those kind of things, you could have reference forms that like reference letters, that kind of stuff that you could ask of the kids if necessary. So then the next step is after you build their forms. So this is so that the kids can enter their photos, and then you have another form for the score sheet. You've got to build your contests, and in their world, they call it projects. In my world, I would call this contests. So this is where we would start from scratch here. You can also duplicate another contest if you want to duplicate another one that's already in existence. That's very similar to yours. Then you can just duplicate it, rename it, and off you go. So I'll look at, I'll do my state photography contest since I've already built it out, just to show you what that looks like. And it'd be very similar on your end of things too. So this is the name of the contest. Obviously, you can provide some general instructions in this area here. You can even include photos or links or little movies or whatever else you need there. Can go in this little section. And this is all what would be viewable for the kids in these two fields. From there, we go to pick the form that we're going to use. So in my case, I use the state photography contest form that I just showed y'all. And then to kind of preview it, I can click this button here, and it'll show you that it's going to be this form here. Well, I didn't show you this one, but it's real similar to what we started out with earlier today. The name, the county, you know, choose your photo, so all that good stuff. So that's the form, and then we skip on down. So this is the entry time period. So when do we want to start taking entries? So mine's on the 1st of April, and they close on April 15th. It says 5 p.m., but usually we go to midnight, so I'll probably need to update that. And then this section here is called hidden, and I have that checked because if I were to go to my Submittable has what's called an organizational profile page. So if people were to go to this landing page, and I'll change out the logo here from San Antonio. I just didn't want their kids to get confused when they were uploading it and they saw a Texas 4-H header here. So I'll change this back to a Texas 4-H image. So this is the page that Submittable has for us. So if we had like an open call for entries for any given contest at any given time, they could go to this page, they could see the contest that they wanted to enter, and then they could just sign up and go. In my case, since I take entries, I have to take money through 4-H online first. I don't want them to find this page and the entry form first without having gone through the payment process. And so I have them go on 4-H online, and then once they register on 4-H online, then I provide them a link back to the entry form, which is kind of hidden. So that's why this box here, oops, let's get back to this page. I don't know how we got to that one. That's why I have that box checked that says hidden here. And so when they register on 4-H online, I give them this direct link from here. But if y'all are not taking entry fees and all that, quite honestly, then I would probably uncheck that and make it visible. Or you can, provide them the link. Either way, I mean, it can work either direction, whichever way you want to go. If you uncheck it, then you can just give them the link to this organizational profile page, and they'll see that active form there, and they can go in and fill it out and go. But if you have it hidden, then it's not populated on that page. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it can be confusing a little bit. And then I have this selected to live because I want that to be an active form ready to go whenever this this timeline hits. If you don't have it selected to live, then it's not going to be active. So I'm ready to go with my contest. I've already built it months in advance. I've clicked the live button, so now when April 1st hits, I don't have to do a thing. It's already ready to go. From there, we'll go to the notifications section, which is the next tab over. And then you can select a level of concealment that you want. And those are those fields that we talked about earlier that you want to hide from the judges. And so for my level 1, which are all my judges, I conceal those things that we've checked that box for that says conceal response. So they don't see those things that are checked. From there, the next thing I have is an auto response, and this auto response goes to the kids or the parents, whoever submits the entry. And so they've filled out the entry form, they've done their photo, and then from there, we'll go ahead and click on this. They are going to get this email automatically sent to them, which just basically says this email serves as confirmation that you've submitted this photo, blah, 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 blah. And, I tell them about the timeline when judging is going to take place, tell them about when the results are going to be tentatively announced, and, kind of give them who's sending this. So it's more just a bit of comfort for the parents, I guess, to confirm that their photos were indeed received. And that's just one less email that you're probably going to get going, hey, I submitted this, at 11:59, on the day of the deadline, and, did you get it? Well, you don't even have to answer that because they've already gotten that email that says that they did. So that is done. So we'll go back to the notifications page here. And then what I always do too is I reroute them back to my form, which is that link that we talked about over here, under this link here, this direct link. So I copy this link here because it takes them right back to the form to fill out, because again, my kiddos, they have to enter a new form for every single photo. So I want to reroute them back to the form so that they can enter again and again and again if they need to. So kind of puts them in a loop, so to speak. Everybody good? Is everybody completely lost? I know it can be daunting. And again, you don't have to memorize all of this, but just pieces of it.
I'm recording it, so we'll have it.
Okay, you can fall back to it.
But I did want to ask on the, so I think we talked about this last time, on the entries, they're able to just keep entering and entering, right? I mean, you can't really like set a limit, right?
Let me go in. I don't remember.
You just have to kind of, oh, there you can set a submission cap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the total submission cap. So let's just say that you were only taking 1,000 photos. I think you could set it to that. But I don't know that you can set it by person. Oh, wait. Limit multiple submissions.
Yeah.
Well, if you did that, then that's only going to be 1 photo per kid.
1 photo per kid. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know that it will give you like a finite number to select.
So if you're limiting it, like you just have to like on the state contest, for example, when you do that, you just have to kind of go through and make sure that they didn't enter more than they're supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, our limit is the 15 categories. So if they had 16 photos, one of them is probably most likely a duplicate. And so I would probably just delete that entry altogether, or just archive that entry so it doesn't end up in the judging, you know.
Yeah, and our contest last year, and I'm assuming we'll do the same this year, we limited it to 3 entries per participant. So we just have to kind of go through the submissions and make sure that they're not doing more than
right. Yeah, if I find something different, another setup that might limit that, I'll let you know, but I don't know of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, that's the only thing that they're really missing on here.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
All right, so we've done this one, we've done the notifications. We'll move to the review workflow. So this is where you set up your stages for judging. And so you can see that I have my first one is called round 1. And then from there, we move straight to the finals. So, and then I'll show this box too. This is kind of important. If you want to allow your judges to go in and make edits after they've submitted their first or their scores, then you need to go in and check this box. Typically, always just tell judges just to go ahead and make sure everything is correct the way they want them the first time that they do it, and then hit the submit button. They can save a draft if they want to, and then go back in and review all their photos, adjust their scores at that, you know, in that manner, and then go in and submit each one of those once they're done. And but in the event that somebody's already submitted their photos or submitted their scores, they're not automatically able to go in and edit those scores unless you have this checked. I don't check it because I want them to get through the judging process as fast as they possibly can, and not dilly-dally around with you know, being fickle about their scores and having to go back and edit them multiple times and that kind of stuff. So, but we actually had a case just a little bit ago from the San Antonio contest. A judge needed to go back in and edit their score. So I sent them to this page here to turn that on, to allow that judge to go in and edit her scores. And then once they're done, you know, then I would recommend turning it back off so that it's just not an open editing time period there. So, but anyway, so we set the name of the stage, and you can call it whatever you want to. For me, I do a custom review, and then from there, that allows me to pick my review form, which is that photography score sheet that we looked at earlier. And then I don't mess with this necessarily because our assignments are very specific to certain categories. And so, but if you had a small contest and you just had one set of judges, you could assign them right here, and they would be done. But in y'all's case, you probably won't have that either. So I wouldn't worry with this section at all either. And then if you have another stage, like for me, I have one called finals. And then from there, from when my judges get to this stage, I have a different set of judges that I pull in for this. I just give them a real simple yes, no. It's really a yes, no. I don't want them to do a maybe, a yes, no vote. And so, yes, this is their best photo that they like, because it may be like 3 or 4 photos that they're looking at tops. And so I want a definite answer there as to which one is their top pick. And so if it's their top pick, they would select yes. If it's not their top pick, they would just select no. And then I can real quickly sort who won that division, and we're done. And that's that in a nutshell. So there's also a gallery that can be created within the system, and you can either turn it on or off. And then my judges like to have a gallery in the beginning before they get started judging. So I would copy and send them this link to the gallery, and you can have different categories. Obviously, you'd probably want to have all the categories from your contest listed here. And so to do that, you just go through and you pick the ones you want, and it adds it to the list here. I need to go in and probably clean out a lot of the extra labels that are in here. But while all of these contests are going on, I don't want to mess with any of that at this point, because all of these labels are for all of the contests that are in the system at this given moment, and even those that we've used in the past. Always like to add a label filter in there so that a judge could sort by the category. So if they are a plant flora judge, they can type in or select plant flora, and it would only pull up those photos in the gallery that are in that plant flora category. I did a public voting thing with my photography ambassadors at one point in time. So if you wanted to do something like that, you turn that gallery on for public voting, and that would just drive people to create an awareness. And it's just more of a popularity contest at that point. It's kind of a little bit glitchy. So it's got all these different settings that are a little bit wonky sometimes, like limit the number of votes, like a 1 vote per day or 2 votes per day, or however many you want to. I've had people that are like, I haven't voted today, but it's telling me I can't vote. So it's a little bit glitchy in that regard. So, I'd only use it for fun. I wouldn't use it for serious contest mode there to really determine an award or anything like that. It's just more, like I said, a popularity contest at that point in time. I had a parent get sideways with me about it. And I'm like, there's nothing riding on this at all. So back off. So if you wanted to view the gallery, we can click on that and it'll kind of show you what that.
Is it me or Derek?
Yeah, I think he froze up. He might have lost connection.
Before.
Oh, there you are. I think you froze up for a minute there.
Did I lose y'all?
I think so. It looked like you just kind of froze mid-sentence there. So I guess you must have lost connection for just a second when you were just talking about the gallery. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say
it might have if you hit view gallery, it might have just slowed it down so much that we lost you.
I don't know. It went
because I noticed whenever I started hitting stuff on Submittable on my end, it would kind of start chopping the audio a little bit.
All right. Do we have connection again? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay. All right. Making sure. Yeah. I must have something set weird in this particular deal, but normally there'd be a gallery of photos here. Like I said, this is a an older contest, so I don't know what I've got set up. Some of these photos may be archived and not pulling into the gallery. But anyway, there is a gallery there if you want to go that route.
Is it set to the 2022 contest?
That is correct. Thank you. There are no photos. We're not even looking at their, yeah. So if I were looking at the 21 contest,
it would have,
yes, you would see photos there. Thank you. That helps alleviate my confusion there.
yeah.
All right. I guess kind of the last couple of things to show is the reports page. And so we'll look at that real quick. Give it a second to load up here. So you can create some custom reports based upon different entries. So we'll go into last year's photography contest because we got over 1,000 photos there. And then over on the bottom right-hand corner, this is where you can start to build your report. So the submitter is actually the person who uploaded the photo, so that might possibly be a parent, so that if you need that field, then you can use it. But what I would probably use more than anything would be what is in this section here, which is the actual contestant's name, their county. These are all the fields that you have selected or created in that form that we built early on. And you can see it's starting to populate that in the preview on the left-hand side. And then from there, you can also add in the different reviews. So you can see their total score, which it will automatically add that up for you. You don't have to tabulate anything or create a spreadsheet formula or anything like that. It'll also do average score, which in this case, it's going to be the same thing because one judge, one score. You can see the reviewer's email. So again, we've cleaned all those out, so you're not going to see anything populated here. But when it's live and it's all taking place, you would see my email if I was a judge. You would see my name in this section here, those kind of things. And then you can even turn on the individual scores for each criteria if you want to. So you see the one that says score, those are the ones I'm selecting. And so if we were to slide over here, we should see that there are some score values coming in. So it's just a good way to double check the math, just to make sure that these totals here are indeed adding up to your total score that you had selected early on. Again, just to double check and make 100% sure the math is indeed working. It can pull in the comments section. It can pull in all of these fields that we had built and designed. And it's going to do it for every judge. So you can see review 1 here at the top. So this might be one judge that judged, and then over here is review 2. So if you had multiple judges judging these kiddos or each entry, then you would see as many of these columns would be replicated for the number of judges that you had assigned to each one of those photos. So you can see here it's got review 1, round 1, comments. So there's all the comments. These are all unchecked for the disqualifications. So whenever you're done with that, then you can click on Save Report, and that saves it so that if you wanted to go back in and rerun your report at a later time, it's done. It's easy to find. And then once you're done with that, then you can click Download Report. And whenever you click on that, probably wants me to save the report first. I wish this would get out of the way. There we go. So download report. And so it automatically gives it a file name. So if you want to name it something else, you can. And then you click on download. And so it doesn't immediately download it to your browser. So you have to go and check the downloads section. And so if you want to manually do it, it's over here on the far right-hand corner. So what it has to do is it has to build this report, and then once it does, then it'll be over here in this box saying that it's ready to be downloaded. And so may have to like refresh the screen every once in a while. There we go. And so now it's ready to download. We just click on that, and then at that point, then it downloads the spreadsheet file with all that information in there. Another thing to kind of point out on that, let's go back to our saved reports. You can see we've done all sorts of reports here. If we wanted to, let's just say that we wanted to pick the, we wanted to download all of the photos that were labeled as a top choice. Then we can filter our report based upon just that label, or if we only wanted to see all the animal domestic photos or whatever. We have that ability to, normally we have a button here. I don't know why there's not a button there right now. We go back to create a new report, and it should show you what I'm talking about. Come on, system, what are you doing? It's probably my internet being slow again. But anyway, while this is working, there's usually a button down here that says download files. And if you check that box and then you run a report and you download that report, it'll download all of the files that are attached to those entries that you filtered. If you didn't filter it out, it's going to bring in every single thing. So for instance, if I wanted to download all 1,000 of the photos that I had for my state photography contest, I could do that. And I do that just as a backup. And so it downloads it as a zip folder, and then you can save that to your computer. And, if you want to create, some kind of slideshow or something like that at a presentation that you're doing locally, then you would have those photos available to you. And you wouldn't have to go into each entry and find them and then download them individually. This makes it capable of doing it all in one batch. So, all right, I don't know why this is taking forever, but we'll go into another section here in the reports, because this is super good stuff here, and that is the team progress report. So again, this was in the report section, and it's just team progress. So you can see that there's a bunch of people that are currently assigned, and they're probably the San Antonio public speaking contest judges. So you can see how many of them have the number of assignments. You can see how many that they finished or have unfinished. So Derek is a slacker, needs to get on the ball. So that might be a way to kind of gauge where your judges are in the scheme of things. And then if they're not doing their job fast enough for you, there's a way to nag them. And so you can send them reminders. So this is over in the more section. We're going to go down to reminders. And then we can add a reminder. So we will pick the contest that we want to send them a reminder about. So we'll just pick last year's contest. You can specify a certain date. Like I want to send one reminder on this date today. And then you don't have the ability to customize anything. It just sends your judges an email that says, hey, you've got 15 submissions waiting for your review. And it gives them the link back to Submittable to say, here it is, get going. And so as soon as you say save reminder, then it emails all of those judges who have at least one or more submissions waiting for their review. And so that's really handy, really powerful kind of stuff there. As you get closer to your timeline where you absolutely need them to get moving on things a lot faster, you can actually set it up to where it will send them daily reminders until they end up with 0. And once they end up with 0 remaining, then it stops sending them daily reminders. So again, super powerful stuff there to be able to remind your judges to keep going, keep at it. I usually don't send them reminders until I'm a few days out of the deadline, because I want to give them their time to get to it at their leisure without trying to be too big of a pain in their side. I want it to be a positive experience rather than a negative one. So anyway, That is pretty much it in a nutshell. There is the ability, once judging is done, I'll circle back to this. We would go back, let's just say that all of the judging is completed. We would go in and select all of the photos in that category. And then we would go in here and say share reviews. And once you click on that, then all of the scores and all of the comments that the judges made, the ones that you wanted them to see, they would be sent an email saying your reviews are ready. You can log back into your Submittable account and then pull up your photo entries, and then you will be able to see the scores. So you don't have to worry about mailing out score sheets. You don't have to do any mail merges from Excel to a Word document or anything like that. It's just all built in within the system, and it automatically sends them their information back to them whenever you're ready. But until you're ready, it doesn't show them any of this that we've seen so far. So they don't see any of these scores. They don't know who's judged or how many judges have done that until you're ready to share that back with them. So hopefully that gets us back full circle there, back to the beginning, from the beginning of the entry process back to them getting their score sheets at the end of it all. So, and everything in between.
So share reviews shares it to the
back to the kids.
For the kids, okay.
Yep, back to the parents or the kids, whoever submitted this, whoever created this entry.
It just goes back to whoever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this case, if I were to click that, then Joseph Fritz would get an email saying, "Hey, your entries are available to view. Your scores."
And it'll have his score and his score sheet and all that too.
Yep. It'll show like, you got 13 points for this criteria, 12 points for this. It'll show them the total score at the end, and then it'll also have that field for the comments available for them to see.
And just for their entries, right?
Right, just for their entries, nobody else's, just their own.
Cool.
And two, let me go back over here to the score sheet. So if we're looking at this, this box here that says make shareable, we want to make sure that box is checked because, we want to make sure that box is checked for the fields that you want the kids to see. If we go down here to the disqualified, I might have this box checked at the time of contest, and I might not, depends on how I feel, I guess. But at this point, I left it as make shareable, so that they would know the reason why their photo was disqualified in this particular sense. But if I didn't want them to see that, then I could uncheck this box, and then whenever we shared their reviews, they would not see this particular field if I have that box unchecked. So hopefully that makes sense. And one thing to also point out too is these boxes here, all of these numeric values and such, they'll be automatically calculated so long as they come from one of these three selections down here on the bottom left. If you create like a short answer text box where they're typing in a number value or something like that, then the system will not automatically calculate that. But it will do it if you select one of these from the ratings down here. So if you just picked a normal drop-down list up here and created the score values, it won't total it from a drop-down list, but it will from the drop-down rating list that you create. So there is just a little bit of a difference. I kind of learned the hard way. So just passing that along.
Are these drop-down ratings then, all of these, or?
Yes, these are all drop-down ratings.
All right.
Yes. Cool. Yeah, and the way you can tell that is you have the labels on one side and the actual score value is on the other side. So that's the reason why you see 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. I could type out the number 1 if I wanted to as the label, but give it a score value of 1.
Right. Or you could put like poor is 1, fair.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you wanted
right.
to. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. Same concept.
Okay, cool.
That's it in a nutshell, gang. Like I said, we got some contests going on as we speak, and so blowing and going, it looks like. So
Yeah, that sounds great. I've got this, I've got the recording. Does anybody
Okay.
have any questions about the submittable?
Oh man, just thank you for recording it. And of course, I'll be reaching back out to you again.
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, when y'all get to the point where y'all are in the middle of the contest or about to get ramped up for the contest, just if you get stuck on something, holler back at me. And I've done this enough now that I should be getting a kickback from Submittable on the fee there. But I'm glad to help any way I can to make it easy for y'all. I did the same thing for San Antonio last year. I let them use my Submittable account because we had plenty of space. I have like 3,500 entries that we can use over the course of a year. And so I don't even know where I'm at right now. Trying to remember on my account if it tells me. Let's see, subscription plan. I think it's in there. So as of right now, we've used 337 of 3,500 entries. So we have a lot of space there in terms of entries, and that resets in May. So after May is when y'all's contest is, so we'll actually be back down to 0. So we're not going to run into any issues there with being over the limit or anything like that. So we should be in good shape.
Well, let me ask you that. So you think it's that we shouldn't allow submissions until after May, or is
No,
it just...
no. We can. I'm not. I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to this. I mean, because I'll have around 1,000 photos for the state. So, let's just say we started off at 3,500. That's still 2,500 photos, and District 4 may have 600 or 700 photos. District 9 will probably have about the same number. So again, we're not anywhere close to that number. So we're in good shape. I wouldn't worry about it. So if we start your contest taking entries before that timeline changes, it's not going to be a big deal either way.
Right. The main thing is just that the judges we can't really add the judges until after May. Is that kind of the main?
Well, y'all can add judges after just as soon as I get done with mine. Yes.
Okay.
And so my entries close on April 15th. And so it'll take me about a week or maybe 2 weeks to kind of sort through all the entries, because I have a painstaking process of comparing all the photos that were, or all the entries that were selected in 4-H Online. I go through each kid's entry to compare those to what they submitted on Submittable, make sure those match. And then once they match, then I approve them. And so it takes a long time to go through all that. Once that is all done, then I start assigning my judges those categories. But the good thing to do too is to maybe go ahead in advance and get your judges to go ahead and create a Submittable account. They can do that ahead of time. And there's, I've got an email or two. I don't know if I sent that to you or not. But if not, I can send it to you. I've created a set of instructions to email to the judges that says, here's the first step, and that's to go into Submittable, create an account, and then just as soon as they do that, then when you invite them in on the team page here, if they already have a Submittable account, you can see down here at the very bottom, you see some that say pending invitations down at the bottom. If they already have an account, as soon as you invite them, then I think it automatically can pull them into this section here, into the current team, which is great because once they're in the current team, then you can assign them their photos. You can't obviously assign them photos until they have an account. So the sooner they have an account, the better. So I would work on that, like a month out if you can. To kind of line up your judges, get them going, get them, to stand ready. I've got my Submittable account, and then on this day, we will email you your assignments, and this is what it's going to look like. And I've got a document that I also created to send the judges that walks them through step by step on how to go through the judging process. Click here, click this, over on the right-hand side, you're going to see your score sheet, and this is how you fill out your score sheet. You submit it down at the bottom. Here's how you add a label for your top choice, those kind of things. So I walk them through every single step of the process. And I have very, very few judges that get stuck. I've had like an 80-year-old photographer that he managed to get through it just fine. So he said, you know, technology wasn't his thing, but the instructions we gave him were good enough that he was able to go through it without any problems. So that was encouraging. So
yeah, definitely. I would like to. I think sending all that stuff would be helpful.
Okay, yeah, I'll be sure to send that to you then.
Yeah,
So you got it.
and
No sense reinventing the wheel.
And before we wrap up, last time when I spoke with you, we had. Do you want to mention briefly how we can use ambassadors, as we had talked about using the ambassadors as judges, and
Sure.
And also that to help publicize the contest so we can get more entries this year.
Yeah, we've obviously got a good number of state photography ambassadors. We've got around 30 or so kids, and so obviously they're trained on all aspects of photography, including evaluating photos. They should know what to look for in good photos, and we actually have some that are helping out with a lot of county contests. So even if you had a county contest, you can pull in some of those kids if they're in your county or in a neighboring county that want to come over and help. Yeah, so if y'all want to pull in some of those, then just let me know and I can route you to our adult advisor, who's kind of the communications person with all of our ambassadors. She does a really good job of letting them know when opportunities for them to serve come about, and then they can connect, provide all the details of the contest or whatever they're needing help with. So our ambassadors get called all the time to come and help do workshops and presentations and those kind of things. So we've got a lot of those that are available for that too. So beyond judging, if you guys have a need for to do a photography workshop and you want to pull in some of our ambassadors, this would also be the person to contact. So if you got the details of the contest, you can send my volunteer kind of the who, what, when, where, what you need, the timeline and those kind of things, so that the kids know, hey, I'm going to be at a summer camp that week. I'm not going to be able to help judge. Then they at least know that up front, and they wouldn't volunteer for something that they couldn't commit to. So if we've got the who, what, when, where, that kind of stuff, and can send to Marcy, who is my volunteer, then she can send that on to, she's got the contact list for all the ambassadors. She can forward that on to them. And then, we would just tell them to contact you directly, or whoever you want them to contact. And then y'all could, then there's no middleman at that point.
That sounds great. Yeah, we can do that. And my plan was that we could maybe at our next meeting with the committee, because this one's a little long, of course, because of what we're doing here today, but we can kind of go over that and kind of finalize all that stuff and get it to you after our next meeting next month. And also about the publicizing the contest to outreaching a wider audience. We had talked about that, and possibly using funds from the 4-H Foundation, I believe, to get ribbons if we do have a really large number of entries. I'd definitely reach out to them. I know that they have, they've been doing those county grants, but I think districts and even state programs can apply for those grants. But then even then, just contacting the 4-H Foundation director, David, and just tell him what you're doing and see if he's got some potential sponsors. And I bet he might have somebody in mind that could, he could either point you to, or he might know, and he might do the asking on your behalf. Either way. But yeah, I would definitely reach out to them, see what they might be willing to help do, and kind of go from there. Great. And as far as we can send you the when we get the letter all finalized and everything, should we just send that to you, and then you can kind of, or how can we get that out to more people? I know Hendrix was asking about that too, because that's something.
Either way, I mean, I mean, y'all can send it out through your channels, and I can send it out through my channels. Either way, I've got a Facebook page, a Texas 4-H photography Facebook page, so I can post that information there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we can hit it from different angles. I'd also send it to Callie at the state 4-H office, Callie Klein.
Okay.
She's our marketing and communications person there. And
Okay.
so she can make sure that it gets in that weekly email blast that goes out to all the agents and also to all the families.
All right.
And so, you know, if you can kind of create like a little graphic or something to kind of go along with it, I think that would kind of catch people's attention a little bit better than just having, you know, a lot of words on the screen.
Yeah, like a flyer or something.
Yeah, some little simple flyer that she can include. So yeah, she sends that out weekly, so she can send it out multiple times between now and then. So
yeah,
put it on everybody's radar that that's a state opportunity for the younger age groups. So, and I think they would be happy to. You may you may open a door that's going to have a flood come in. So be careful on what you ask for.
Actually, last year I think I posted it. I think it was the group you're talking about, the state 4-H content. And we got a lot through that group. I mean, it wasn't crazy amounts, but we did have, I think it was like 160 something last year. But if we can get that up, you know, I think that would be good. Especially if we have the judges for it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording at this point.